Okay, our workout for today is called Mind Your Business. It's a 20-minute AMRAP. You're going to do 8 dumbbell snatches and then 8 V-snaps or sit-ups. If you have a bar and want to do hanging leg raises or toes to bar, you're welcome to do that as well. And then 1-minute machine. You're just rotating through this for 20 minutes, seeing how many rounds that you can get. We're going to try to focus on a little heavier weight for the dumbbell snatches if you have that option, or working on that technique of that more so than just like trying to crush it for that 20 minutes. And then same thing with the V-snaps or the sit-ups or whatever variation you're doing. Go maybe a little bit harder than you normally would. So if you normally do sit-ups with a workout with 20 or something in it, let's pull that back. We're only doing 8, but let's try to do a little harder of a version for yourself today. And then if you want to pick up that speed or that intensity a little bit more, use that 1-minute machine time to do that. If you don't have a machine, you can do things like burpees, toe taps, jumping jacks. You can rotate them, or you can just stick with one. Okay. Okay. So warm up. You're going to do D-ROM. So 10 arm circles each way, or shoulder rolls if you prefer. And then 10 bear hugs, palms facing forward, alternate the arm on top. 10 alternating arm swings. And then move that into core rotation, so feet underneath your hips. 10 core rotations. Widen those feet, bend at the hip. 10 windmills. Make sure you're turning that whole upper body, not just reaching with your hands. And then feel free to grab something to hold on to for balance if you need. 10 leg swings forward and backwards. Core engaged, nice proud chest, so just the hip is moving. 10 on each leg for those. And then face whatever you're holding on to. If you're holding on to something, for 10 lateral swings side to side. So bringing that leg up to the side as far as you can. Once you're done that, before you come onto the ground, if you have a mini band, have that handy. But we're going to come onto the ground first. We're going to start with 90-90s. So feet wider than your shoulders, and you just let them drop over to one side, get about 90 degrees out to the front, 90 degrees out the side. Reset chest up and over that front knee, drive that hip back, and a little stretch. And then you're going to sit nice and tall and try to drive that other hip down to the ground. Hands can come behind you. You're going to fan one leg open as far as you can, and the other leg's going to come to meet. And then you do the same thing on the other side, driving that hip back, chest forward, sitting nice and tall, driving that knee down, and then taking that time to fan one side to the other. You do that total of 3 times on each side. So 2 more times after you've done the first. Then once you've done that, you're going to set up. You're going to come back to your starting position, set in that 90-90. You're going to bring that hand over across from the hip, so sort of in a triangle, or even drop down to the elbow, as long as that front knee or that side knee can stay planted to the ground. You can do that. So you feel maybe a little stretch to the side right away. And then we're going to do 5 sweeps. So you're going to sweep up in front. Open up your chest and shoulders. Keep that knee down, squeezing that butt cheek with that side leg, and around as far as you can. Okay, you're going to do 5 of those. And then once you've done that, you're going to switch over to the other side. Set up in that same way. Okay, hand or elbow out. And then do 5 sweeps on this side. Okay, take your time. Like I said, open up the chest and the shoulders as you're doing this, but squeeze that butt cheek. So we're getting a little stretch to the front of the hip flexor and then a little lateral stretch and chest stretch. Once you've done that, this is where we're going to use our band. If you got it, you can either put it around your feet. That's going to be a little harder. Or I'm going to show you the version just around the knees, okay, to add a little resistance. Okay, and then for here, on your back, legs are going to be at 90. We'll make sure our legs aren't too high, our knees aren't too close to our chest. Finding that position, arms are going to be straight up from the shoulders, palms facing each other, and then we want to make sure that lower back stays planted all the way through. So big breath into the belly, filling it with air on all sides. You're going to do 5 per side, or 10 total, legs only. Okay, so extending the leg as straight as you can without letting that lower back plant or come off. And then once you've done that, you have the option to do another 10, just legs only, or you can add the arm up overhead, opposite arm, opposite leg. Okay, Make sure you don't extend the leg too much so that lower back comes off. We want to keep that engaged. That's the first and foremost thing. So even if that means you have to bend our knees a little bit more. Okay, so you're going to do total of 20 on those. Then you can take that band off. Next warm up, last warm up thing before we get into the movements is up down dog. So starting in tabletop, hands underneath your shoulders, dig those toes in, pressing up and back, focusing on elongating that upper body first, reaching that chest towards your toes, elbows stay straight, knees stay bent. Once you sort of get that position, then you can either pedal one heel at a time or just try to reach those heels down to the ground for a nice back line stretch. Hold that for 3 to 5 seconds. And then come through high plank or low push-up if you prefer. Drop those hips down to the ground, shoulders back and down, gently lift up. If that's a little too much, you can also come down to the elbows. Take a good breath into the belly here. And then you're going to do that 2 more times. So 3 up, down dogs total. So pressing up and back. Okay? Once you're done that, you are going to grab a light dumbbell to start with. Then you're going to do single dumbbell deadlifts. You're going to do 10 total, 5 per arm. So setup should look like dumbbell in between the legs, okay, not sideways. Try to bring that dumbbell right in between those legs, or those feet, not reaching forward. So you're going to sit your butt down, nice proud chest, eyes forward, okay, just so we're not looking down at the ground. And then we're just driving the heels, squeezing our butt to stand, okay? You can come back down and switch. Do the other side, so you're going to switch every time, or you can switch in the air. So switching one side and the other side. Okay, but I want us to focus on keeping that butt down just a little bit lower than our chest. So we're using our legs and we're not using our back. We're definitely not using our arms. We're just holding on. Okay. Once you've done 10 of those, 5 per side, then we're going to roll that into the snatch overhead. So I'm going to think about that same thing. We're driving through the heels, we're squeezing our butt, and we're just popping and pulling overhead, okay? But your legs are doing the work. You're not picking this up and starting to bend to the bottom and then going overhead, okay? So legs, 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 and a little pop, and keep it nice and close, and just drive it and press it to your best overhead position, okay? 10 as well with that light weight for the snatches, 5 per side, okay? Once you've done that, you can set that aside for a second. Options for the sit-ups or the V-snaps. So if you're doing sit-ups, you have a ab mat or a cushion or two just to help with that lower back position. You're going to want to make sure that your butt stays planted all the way through this. Your head or your shoulders touch the back. And then you're rounding that spine up and using that core as much as possible to come up. So like I said, making this a little harder. Maybe we normally swing our arms. We have those arms to create a little momentum. Maybe we just keep those arms nice and close. Do a more of a strict sit-up so that our core has to do a little bit more work. Okay, so that's an option. We could do a weighted sit-up as well. Okay, so you could grab your dumbbell. You can keep this close. And then as you come up, you're going to press overhead. If your shoulders are already tight, I would not suggest using that version because it is going to be a little hard on your shoulders. And I want you to be able to make sure that you can press to a tall position and you're not pressing here, okay? Because again, that's going to be hard on your shoulders. So if that's an issue, don't use that version. And then other options are the V snaps, okay? So we're going to get that lower core engaged a little bit more. You start with your legs extending your arms overhead. And then an easier version of this is to bend your knees and bring your knees towards your chest and reach your hands towards your heels, okay? Or anywhere from there to try to keeping your legs straight and your toes and your feet meeting in the middle of your body. Okay, that one, if you're doing V-snaps, take your time. It's a little bit of a timing thing to figure out. So you're going to snap in the middle, come back down, take a second, snap in the middle, come back down. Try not to go too fast or you'll just end up rocking all over the place. Okay, so take that second and just focus on the positioning and the technique. Okay, so do at least 8 of those, and then you're going to come back with your dumbbell. Grab a little heavier of a dumbbell, or even maybe the weight that you're going to use with the workout. Like I said, you can go a little heavier than maybe you normally do, and just practice on taking your time, practicing on that technique. And you're going to do a set of 8, so 4 per side of your snatches again, okay, as the rest of your warm-up. Then once you've done that, you should be pretty warm. You should have at least close to the weight that you're going to use. And then you go ahead, take a break, and start your 20-minute AMRAP. I would say you're estimating 2 to 3 minutes per round, okay? But you want to try to pace it and keep that same pace. If you want to go crazy on that minute. All right, have fun.